Where two male ostriches have a few female spectators, one gets some ridiculous behavior. The individual males are obviously vying for mating rights to the female harem, and this is serious business if you're an ostrich. One of the males is considerably bigger than the other, but it's the smaller one that seems keener on the females. The two embark on a display feud, scattering the females ahead of them in confusion. Eventually, the bigger male somehow gets the upper hand, and as he begins to pick up speed, the chase begins. By now, he's running at around 50 or 60 kilometers an hour, but he's not going as fast as the high-speed ball of feathers that he's chasing.
Komodo dragon, ancient reptile, sits immersed in the mangrove landscape on the shore. This is his place. Above and around him, in the mangrove trees, some macaques. They, as well as the Timor deer, are prey to the dragon, and they know to keep their distance and their senses alert. These are a recognized subspecies called crab-eating macaques, and they have evolved and developed their own unique way of collecting crabs from the island shoreline, using their dexterous arms and hands, but also their long tails to fish the crabs out of their holes. They feed the tail in and wait for the crab to latch on and then yank it out with crab attached. It works. The dragon rests among the mangrove roots, and I move down to the other side. I want to see this reptile up close. I want to know the nature of the creature I will share the earth with over this next week. It is always a fine line, knowing and observing just where the boundary of too close is. This animal can move fast when it needs to. I've learned with reptiles, because of their extreme primitive nature, that it is best to keep eye contact. I keep a piece of mangrove between myself and the dragon, just enough for a 2-second start if I need it. The bite from this animal inevitably leads to septicemia and death. Reptilian talons, claws, shaped and formed out of the earth's forces and sculpted from mineral mud. Such primitive perfection. Enough for me today to see into the light in the eye of this creature.
The carcass was alive, and it's incredible to see how fast so many maggots can be produced. But it was the colourful flies that drew my attention away from the seething mass. There were hundreds of blue bottle and green bottle blowflies gathering on islands between the maggots. They're really beautiful little creatures and not the ugly pests we make them out to be. The large blue blowflies dwarf the other flies, their huge red eyes really being a standout feature. These bigger blue bottle flies are really dominant amongst the other flies. This carcass should be abuzz for quite a few more days. These insects adding so much colour and beauty to this scene of death.
As the darkness really began to descend, the surface of the water itself came alive. It almost looked as though it was raining. There was so much activity there, so many small fish coming up to the surface, causing ripples on the surface. A really very lovely appearance against this low reddish maroon reflection in the water. After dark, I continued looking for wildlife around the edge of the lake. One of the first things I saw was this beautiful green lotus frog, or green pond frog, or green-backed frog. He's got a lot of names, but they all involve the word green, hardly surprising. And then not far from the frog, a rainbow water snake. A very, very common snake here at Bungsea Fire. I come across them all the time, frequently see 3 or 4 or 5 on an evening's trip around the lake. This one at first appeared to be drinking, which was quite an odd thing to see in a water snake. It may have been on the land for some time, though. They will come out onto the land at night and even spend several days on land. Around the edge of the lake, plenty of life could be seen in the water. Some small fish, even some small prawns as well there. Tiny insects and a snail. I love it when they do this, upside down across the surface of the water, grazing as it goes. Well, after several hours poking about in the dark here, something I always enjoy, the lights started to dim, and that was the signal to head for home.